libhal and ecosystem meeting notes. It is August 24th, 2022. All right, so we have a bit of a short one today. I'm just going to go over a couple of items here. There's not actually any other slides. Just want to go over the progress report from iteration 9, the removal of fixed point libraries, which is, or fixed point code for the most part, remove experimental folder, and the progress towards the Conan Center index I'd like to go over. So let's actually go over to alpha launch for this iteration. Okay, so, and actually let me double check something real quick. Sorry, iteration 10, that is my bad. Iteration 10. So iteration 10, it's not, it probably looks like it isn't, that we didn't do very much. I mean, I got a couple of things completed here. We're actually missing one that had to do with, oh, no, it's right here. I don't know why I'm assigned to it. This should be Malia. But yeah, so besides that, it may seem like not a lot of stuff got done, but there's a lot of other stuff that got done in the background. Specifically, this area right here is prepare libhal for Conan index. And I could technically close that now, but I'll show you guys what that means in a bit. So removal of fixed point libraries. So anything that had to do with percent, like how percent was removed from the code base, anything having to do with it is pretty much removed. It's being replaced with floating point operations and functions for that. But even then, there's I'm finding some particular bugs, and it's also making me think about the behavior of what we're doing. Like for example, if you pass a float and a double and another float into a function that takes three of these, separate floating point types, which one should you default to? And there's a bit of a problem here because if you default down to whatever float config is, you lose precision when you wanted it. If you upscale to everything up to double, which is typical double promotion that happens with floating point numbers. I don't know. A part of me is like, well, should we also force that thing down, or should the person statically cast that thing down if they need it in that way? Just kind of considering that. I'm thinking though that the right choice right now. I've been thinking about it more and more, and one of the things I've noticed is that our build does not work very well when it comes to switching between double to float, and because of that, I also noticed that there's a lot of behavioral differences between the different numbers, and I think trying to have two worlds of float and double, and testing against those is kind of complex, and in most cases, I think all of this coming down is what it comes down to is basically use whatever type makes the most sense, but favor float. So I'm probably going to get rid of the config float configuration, just because if a particular library does not need any more than 24 bits of precision, then it doesn't need it. If it doesn't need anything more than int, then it doesn't need anything more than int. If it needs a double, they should be very certain that a double is the only way this thing will function appropriately. But if they do need it, use it. And we should give a badge. Say, hey, there's a badge for this person uses double. So if you use their library, you're going to have to incur that cost. So that's that. Any questions about the removal of fixed point libraries and all that stuff? Okay. Next up is remove experimental folder. So I had a whole bunch of, things like accelerometer, compass, and that kind of stuff in there. That was all removed. That was removed mostly because we would have to. There's a lot of little linting things that Conan runs through that I was starting to see, and as I went through it more, I was like, as long as we have the code that we had before in some PR or somewhere in the history, we can always go back to it to see what was there. I don't see any reason to just keep it inside the active code base, and inside the code that we export to when we launch. If it's not available and people can't use it, and it's broken, then we shouldn't really be using it. And that's actually the big part, is that it suffers from bit rot. If you try to include that stuff, there's so many things you have to fix up with all of them that at that point it seems like there's no real reason to keep it around. So got rid of the experimental folder. There's a PR for it. If you want to go and find, it's just look in removed experimental folder, and you'll find it, and you'll be able to look at what we had before. And finally, progress towards Conan Center index. So I'm actually going to get out of this, and I'm going to kind of show you a couple things. So there's been a lot of commits recently, specifically regarding conforming to the Conan Center, splitting up testing and creating a testing package, and the workflow changes that we saw before. All those things are getting us ready for Conan. And to kind of show you what we have currently, let's look here. And let's look at done. We should be able to find, if you didn't know that was a thing, that's a thing. Let's find libhal. I'm sorry, not libhal. Conan Center. Yeah, so I have my add request here, which I'm probably going to unfollow because I think I already have access. And then I have this little guy here. And do I have any other reviewers on this? I thought I saw, oh, yep, you have a couple reviewers. Oh no, it's just the bots. Yeah, I'm waiting for this to get added in. So this is not the launch that I kind of meant. This is mostly just to get a version in. Specifically, this will get in version 000. 00, yeah, 000. And once we get that version in, 001 will be the real version that will actually have code that should be usable. This one does have code that is usable. It just also has config float and doesn't have all the right libraries in the right spot yet. We still need to review those or finish up review of those. So yeah, we're here. It took a while. This was put in 5 days ago, and I've been just kind of cranking at it. Conan is not easy, and CMake can be pretty annoying at times. So yeah, that's where we're at. libhal is on its way to be put into the Conan Center. It does seem to take anywhere around 5 to 8 days to get things updated, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's how they want to make sure that their systems don't get spammed with a whole bunch of garbage projects. Or other malicious things like that. And yeah, and then, yeah, so that's pretty much the progress we made here. Just a lot of back and forth. This person has been awesome because they actually made a PR on my fork in order to actually, like show us how it's done. It's like prepare for 2.0 and just fixed up everything that I had. So that was delightful. That was nice. And yeah, they just added a bunch of code. So yeah, so that is pretty much preparation for Conan Center Index. I plan on having this, hopefully by the next meeting, we will have this launched and we will have the code base in a decent spot. And that is pretty much it for the meeting video. For those who are watching online, see you guys later. And then the rest of the team is going to talk about some more things.